The maitre d' nodded understandingly. He knew exactly what Henry wanted. Throughout the evening, Henry kept an eye on Ryan and Claire from afar. He watched how they laughed easily, how they engaged with the other diners, and most importantly, how they seemed completely unfazed by his less than subtle attempt to make them uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Ryan and Claire were celebrating their anniversary unaware of Henry's scrutiny. They talked about their dreams, their fears, and everything in between. Their love story was a beautiful one, a testament to the fact that sometimes love could blossom in the most unexpected places. But even as they reveled in their own happiness, they could unhelp but notice the strange looks and hushed whispers coming from other parts of the restaurant. Back at the front of the house, Henry was watching them closely. He saw how elegantly Ryan handled a dish that was poorly presented, how Claire turned a simple conversation into a delightful exchange. And as the evening wore on, he found himself growing increasingly frustrated. They were conducting themselves so well, so much better than some of his regular white patrons. The more he observed them, the more he realized that they were unlike the other black couples he had seen at Lux's door before. They weren't here as part of a group, weren't trying to impress anyone. They were simply a couple in love, enjoying a night out. As the evening reached its climax, Henry decided he'd had enough. He would politely ask them to leave, citing some made-up reason about a double booking. It was the least confrontational way he could think to get rid of them without causing a scene. Just as he was about to leave his seat, a group of men entered the restaurant. They were well-dressed, clearly wealthy, and they were laughing loudly. Henry's face lit up with a wide smile. This was the kind of crowd he loved to see. Leading the group was a man Henry knew very well, Charles Winthrop, a prominent politician who often frequented Lux's door. As they passed by Ryan and Claire's table, Henry heard one of the men ask, "So, how did you manage to get those two blacks kicked out?" Henry froze. "What two blacks?" Winthrop leaned closer and whispered something into the man's ear. Henry's smile vanished. It was clear now why they had asked him that question. When Ryan and Claire had first entered the restaurant, Henry had made a fatal mistake. He'd let his prejudices get the better of him and treated them differently from his other white patrons. But now he had a problem. Those men had likely overheard his exchange with the maitre d', and they were onto him. Before Henry could react, one of the men from Winthrop's group approached his table. "Excuse me," he said, "did you have something against us? We heard you talking about kicking us out because we're black." Henry's heart raced. How much had they heard? Was it too late to fix things? "Excuse me, sir. I don't know what you're talking about," he stammered. The man leaned in close. "Then don't play dumb with me. We know you tried to kick us out because of our skin color. If you don't want us here, just say so." Henry could feel his face flushing with anger and embarrassment. He tried to come up with a response, but before he could utter a word, a voice boomed from across the room. "Henry, what are you doing?" It was Winthrop. He had a stern look on his face, the kind that demanded attention. Henry knew he was in trouble. Not only had he embarrassed himself in front of his regular customers, but he'd also jeopardized his business. He turned to apologize to Winthrop, but then he noticed something. Winthrop was staring not at him, but at the men who were standing by their table. And their faces, once filled with anger, now held a mixture of shock and confusion. "What?" One of them whispered. "They're not black. No, they aren't." Winthrop replied quietly. Henry watched as realization dawned on the men's faces. They had been tricked.